This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast of movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In episode 69, Mike Suderman is here to talk about The Man in the Suit, The Cat with the Beak, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Welcome!
Hooray!
Thank you for joining me on this surprisingly gloomy Saturday. I don't know what's going on outside.
Kind of overcast.
Yeah, and it's very warm and humid and not in like any, well, humidity is never in a good way, so whatever.
Yeah, it rained yesterday. Anyway, this is not good content, but yeah.
So I do have to start this episode with a little bit of a disclaimer. I know I seem like I have my shit together and, you know, with my schedules and posting and editing and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm a giant procrastinator. And usually I wait till the last minute to watch content before I do this. So it's fresh in my brain and because I'm lazy. But this backfired on me this time because my Harvey Birdman CDs, DVDs do not work at all. And I was distressed and I was sad and I went online trying to look for it where I can stream it because I have access to all this stuff. And it doesn't stream anywhere in Canada. And bullshit.
Yeah, that's a tragedy. It's a national tragedy.
I absolutely agree.
It's not. Anyway.
Not good at all. Not good at all.
Yeah,
because I think it streams on like HBO Max in the States, but we don't get HBO Max in Canada. We get HBO Max stuff through Crave, but Crave doesn't have all of the HBO Max stuff. It's a whole thing. And then like YouTube was like, you know, watch it for $2 per episode. I'm like, I'm not paying $2 for 10 minutes. Sorry. But yes, so hopefully I remember enough about these episodes. And I also did some looking around and got little tidbits and stuff about episodes and things. So hopefully that helps.
I was able to watch it and it was enjoyable. I hadn't returned to it in a while, and just rewatching, I was like, oh, I used to watch this all the time. Like I just had it, like watched it on a loop for, I don't know, a couple of years when I was still in college. Like it's just like something to always watch. It was fantastic. So I'm really happy that I returned to it and I just got that nice nostalgic hug again. And and was still laughing at it. Like my favorite episodes are still the great episodes. And it's good.
Well, I did see watch a couple clips on YouTube and stuff. They have a minute here and a minute there from different episodes and stuff. And I gotta admit, I laughed at every single one of them. And I was like, why won't these DVDs work? I want the pure joy. We need all of it, not just 1 minute at a time. No. So,
yeah, like to me it's just so much more now. Like going back to it, I know the voice actors so much better. I know the arc obviously of Stephen Colbert, but even Gary Cole, who was on Veep and just fantastic, and a million other things. But what's his name, who does Men Talk the Mind Taker? He's on Community and a bunch of other stuff. He's in Best in Show. I'm blanking on his name.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can picture him in my brain, but I do not know what his actual name is.
John Michael Higgins.
There you go.
Yeah,
he's great. I mean, but even you have all of these people that are just classic animation voices, LaMarche or whatever. He shows up in everything.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Paget Brewster, of course, is in it as Bird Girl. And they just started an actual Bird Girl show.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it yet, but I did check out that Paget Brewster, they got her back for the voice, which is fantastic.
Yeah, if they didn't, I would have been there's no point to this. I'm not.
Yeah. That was one of the major reasons why I was Oh, maybe I should check it out because they actually got Paget Brewster, who is
Yeah.
delightful in anything and everything she shows up in. So
Yeah, so like it always blows my mind that she spent so much time as an actor on Criminal Minds, because
yeah,
that's where I first knew. Like, I didn't make the connection initially when I first started watching Criminal Minds, and I was like, she's really good, whatever. And then I started making the connections that she's actually more of a comedian than a serious actor, and I was just like, are you kidding me? And then I realized,
yeah,
oh shit, she's the voice in Harvey Birdman. And then she did
yep,
like Drunk History, and then she's done voices in other things. And I was just like, oh, she's hilarious. That's amazing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. My wife and I are huge fans of the Thrilling Adventure Hour podcast, which is like it was old. I can't actually remember. I think it might be behind some sort of PayPal or no, it's a Patreon subscribe. Anyway, back in the day, it used to be free, and we would listen to it all the time. And Paget Brewster was just a regular on that, and so funny with um. Oh man, I'm blanking on names. This is going to make for an interesting podcast. You haven't seen the show, and I can't remember anybody's. Paul F. Tompkins and
Paul,
Paget
okay.
Brewster are like this duo in
Mhm.
Thrilling Adventure Hour, and they're just fantastic.
Well, talking about Paul F. Tompkins, you brought it up, so I'm allowed to say this.
All
But
right.
he's doing the official like Star Trek podcast because he does one of the voices on Lower Decks.
Okay.
So I listen to him all the time. He's great.
All right.
And like with Tawny Newson, and they're freaking hilarious. They're so funny. And then it's very clear that Tawny knows much more Star Trek than he does, because she just takes over like the deep dive into the conversation. But he clearly knows his stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting him down or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But
yeah, it's
he's
great.
probably also there for like connective tissue and just like generally keeping the podcast rolling and stuff.
Yeah.
To get her out of the like those deep dives back to
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I think if you listen to that podcast, you're really into Star Trek, so I guess
Right,
it's kind of
right.
fine. But yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
makes sure you don't end up in like some weird rabbit hole,
for
So
sure.
it's
For
pretty
sure.
great. Yes.
Okay, so well, since you brought it up, Star Trek, what's this? Are there any Star Trek crossovers directly in? I, is Maurice LaMarche in Below Decks? Like, is
That
he?
is that is a good
Can you
question.
even have a can you even have a cartoon if
Without
Maurice
him,
LaMarche is?
that is the
I
real
stole that joke.
question.
That's yeah. I saw that joke on the internet.
Let's see. I don't know. Despite the fact that I have been trying to look up like little tidbits of information about the show
Mm-hmm.
and everything, I did not check out the Star Trek connection as yet.
Okay,
I ran out of time, so we'll see. We'll see. But one thing,
you ran out of time with all that time you saved not watching the show.
well, I literally spent okay, I literally spent an hour trying to get the like either disc to work.
Yeah, yeah.
And because right now I use a very old computer with the
Mhm.
DVD-ROM in it to play things, it takes like 10 minutes to load, and then something opens up, and then it takes another 10 minutes to do this, and then a screen comes up all jerky and all 8-bitty looking, and then
Yep.
I hear some sound and I try to press play, and then I pause, and then I go back, and then I move things around, and I'm just like, why aren't you working?
Mhm.
Then I take out the disc, put the disc back in, blow on the disc, wipe it down, all sorts of stuff, and just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you
Well,
doing this to me?
the same thing happened to my home movies. Like
I love home movies.
the cartoon, not like my personal home movies, but a cartoon called Home Movies. Those DVDs started getting like worn out, and they stopped working. It was a little while ago. Anyway, that's when I learned don't trust physical media. Back everything up. So
I know when that was happening to me, I was just like, why didn't I digitize all of this before this started, just in case?
Yep.
It's not like I don't have room for it. I've got lots of room for it.
Mhm.
But it didn't happen. It makes me sad. Yes. Okay. Maurice LaMarche does a character on Lower Decks, Lieutenant Drew Pratchett. Much Ado About Boimler. There you go.
There we go.
There's a connection.
Easy
again.
one.
Easy one. All the Star Trek connections are happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Harvey Birdman.
We are talking about Harvey Birdman.
Yeah.
So one thing I found out, which I think happens with a lot of cartoons, especially cartoons that I really like, you always think they're like crazy long and have like 35 seasons and 800 episodes, and you're just like, it was like part of my life for 15 years. It was the greatest time ever. And then you realize, oh, there was 39 episodes over 4 years. You're like, all right.
What? Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they're only 11 minutes long each, so like, there's maybe like 4 hours of content total or something. Like,
yeah, over the whole thing. Yeah, and it blows my mind.
That's not how math works. Never mind. Anyway.
Well, I mean, just this DVD, if it worked, would have just over like an hour and 20 minutes of like episodes, and I was like, that's it? What? This blows my mind. And like, okay, I lied about the duration, because even like just season 1 was only 9 episodes, and they were released between 2000 and 2003. That's a long time for 9 episodes of a show.
That's like Venture Brothers level of release.
Jeez, that show, I love that show, but it frustrates me, and they have fought so hard to keep it going, and it finally got canceled. But they got far. They got what, 7 seasons, I think? Yeah, over 20 years or something.
Yeah. But like, Harvey Birdman was like started right around the time that Adult Swim was becoming like the thing that like came out of the similar thing that like where Aqua Teen Hunger Force started, and the Brack Show, and whatever the Space Ghost, of course, is the which it actually spun off from. But,
well, it was because they were actually looking for content that was cheap to produce and just make, and it was easier to buy old stuff, because most of this is based on Hanna-Barbera, like characters and stuff. And it was easier to buy already designed stuff than get a designer to make something, to make a story, to like go through the whole process. Like, of course, definitely these are nothing like the Hanna-Barbera shows. Don't get me wrong. So there was a lot of development involved in everything. But yeah, all that character design and everything, just Hanna-Barbera threw it in there, did some stuff with it. And it was this show, Space Ghost, and Sea Lab 2021.
Sea Lab's the other one. That's a great one too.
That is a great one. Yeah. It's coming up, hopefully.
Yeah, but yeah, like imagine a world where like getting Stephen Colbert and Gary Cole to voice something is like the cheap option, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, this is so much cheaper than paying some animators to put together the equivalent of like a 11-minute flash video where like only one thing is animated on screen at a time. Like you can watch it. It's just like obviously it improves over the seasons, but like those first few episodes, it's like
a lot of those first episodes, it's like a close-up of their head and their mouth is moving and nothing else is moving in the screen, or like, if they walk into a room, it's like 3 frames for the whole walk across a room. You're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's super cheap, which is part of the like appeal and like aesthetic of it. It's really like it plays into the whole crazy non sequitur jokiness that like reality itself is so pasted together in this show that like anything could happen and you're like, all right, whatever. Like
you just kind of go with it. You're just like,
the fact that like basically every episode just ends with this big laugh, whatever happens. It's like, it's really good.
It's really ridiculous. So to clarify, the DVD box set that doesn't work for me anymore, sad face, is 13 episodes. It's volume 1. It's 13 episodes of the show. And I realized, I did not clarify this with you before because I don't know why I didn't check into this, but after episode 9, it goes out of order. So there's a couple of random episodes on the end there. in season 2.
Which episodes?
So there is.
I mean, since you didn't watch them, it doesn't matter. I could just tell you which episodes I watched. We can talk about those. But you tell me. I'm interested.
So up until, let's see, X the Eliminator.
Yeah.
Okay, so up
Classic.
until that point, it's in order. It's all of season 1. That's why. But then episode 10 is SPF.
Fantastic episode.
Is episode, where is it? Episode 5 of the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Then it does The Devlin Made Me Do It, which is episode 3 of season 2. And then Trio's Company, which is episode 2, season 2. And then the hold on. High Speed Buggy Chase, which is episode 4. Not complete that over. So it goes 2, 3, 4, and 5. It skips 1. Okay. That's it.
Yeah. So I did end up watching all of those anyway. So because I just I watched the first 13, and then the next one was SPF, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that one. That's one of my favorites. Okay. But yeah, what's 201 then? Why would they skip that one?
So that one is called Black Watch Plaid.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I wonder why maybe there's a rights issue or something. Why they would skip it? Yeah. So the reason Black Watch Plaid, if you haven't watched it recently, or I guess it was never on your volume, so it's fantastic because it's I don't know. I was thinking about it a lot over the past spring because in Ontario we had that like color coded alerts like COVID lockdown schedule, and then they immediately put like Toronto into the red zone, and then they were like, oh, actually the red zone's not restrictive enough for like Toronto because we're spreading even faster, so they put us on like super like secret double lockdown,
which was like gray or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, but the episode of Black Watch Plaid is it's a send up of the terror alert system back at the early like 2000s, but it's that Vulcan 7's office gets robbed, and then he institutes all these crazy totalitarian things and comes up with this crime alert system, which is yellow, orange, red, something else, and then Black Watch Plaid.
It's pink polka dots,
and then Black Watch Plaid on the top, and then afterwards he wraps it up further step to the cover of Rush's Moving Pictures. The album Moving Pictures. It's just like, it's so nonsense, but like all I can think of when Doug Ford's like, oh, you're like, the rest of Ontario is in the red zone, but Toronto is in gray super zone. I was like, oh, he's gonna put us into Black Watch Plaid any day now.
Any day. Oh,
that's how deep some of these. Anyway, I watched a lot of Harvey Birdman when I was in college.
And there is nothing wrong with that. And I think the thing is, I think shows like this with their crazy fast-paced humor and connection to like pop culture. Like I know like The Simpsons has been around, and I know Family Guy had been around at this time, but the speed that shows like this put out those jokes and the nonsensical nature on top of like before stuff like Archer came out, like this kind of shit made Archer possible, right?
Yeah.
Just like the style animation, the kind of jokes and the snappy whatever that made that possible. And people wonder why our generation is so weird and sarcastic and always making references. It's shit like this. It just stays in your brain and you just keep going with it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, because before Archer, he had the show that I'm also blanking on, but it was like a 2-season Frisky Dingo.
Frisky
right?
Dingo, yeah.
So yeah, like Frisky Dingo, like you could see all the DNA of at least the early seasons of Archer, like
Yes,
in there, and but it's way more to the um more Adult Swim, more like totally zany stuff, like people drinking retcon juice and like, stuff like that, like
yeah. Well,
yeah.
the one thing that separated Frisky Dingo from like the other stuff, like this Space Ghost Archer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I guess Archer fits in there as well because it is properly serialized. And
Right.
Frisky Dingo was so fucking weird that if you missed an episode, you would have.
Yeah.
It's not like you could put two and two together and figure out what you missed or whatever. No. You were just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
what?
That's true. I totally forgot about that because the first time I watched it, I like sat down and watched the entire like 2 seasons of Frisky Dingo in one sitting. Like I think I was playing like, I don't know, I had a lot more free time. I was playing like Civilization or something, and then you just put it on, and then like like it's 4 a.m. and then you're like, I should go to bed, but I don't have any responsibilities.
Those were good times. I tell you.
But yeah, no, but you're right. Like I can't imagine trying to watch it on TV and like missing an episode because it unlike all these other shows we've talked about, Frisky Dingo is exactly what you're saying. It's like so crazy serialized.
Yes. It was crazy. But the like, because it's not like a soap opera, where it's serialized, it's going in a straight line, every episode connects to the other, but you could miss like 6 months of it.
Right.
Back and watch it, you'd be like,
the status quo is returned to, even if it's not
right. Whereas Frisky Dingo, you're just like, one day they're on Earth and his son just got kicked out of school and he's weird. Fine. Literally 2 episodes later, they're in outer space. There's a giant gun. There's a guy who's dressed like Iron Man in his underwear, shooting other people kind of that look like him, but not quite. And you're just like, how?
Yeah.
What? How did we get here?
Yeah.
Why is that guy missing a foot all of a sudden?
Even like the premise of the show changes like 4 times over the course of however like 26 episodes.
Yeah.
Like the fundamental, what were even like, there's an election arc. Like what is happening? Anyway,
it makes no sense. Yeah. Whereas like shows like Harvey Birdman, it's like, yes, he's a Birdman who's a lawyer and he works at a law firm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then every episode is just like he's representing other people. You're like, okay.
For sure. Though I like, it was gutsy, I think, for them to do a 2-parter on episode 7. 7 and 8. Just be like, we're just gonna like our main demographic is like stoned teenagers who have insomnia. This seems like a good market for like serialized content where you have to remember what happened.
I love the fact too that that second episode is like half the episode is the recap from the first episode. Just so you don't lose people.
Yep.
And you're just like, well, I guess this is more like a 6-minute episode than an 11-minute episode now. We'll just go with it. It's fine. That is actually one of my favorite ones. That one and what is it? Very Personal Injury. That one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's episode 2.
That's episode 2, yeah.
Apache Chief.
Yeah. And the Diversity Crew or whatever they're called. Yeah. Of course, I love what is it? The whole Black Vulcan speech when he's on there. Stupid Aquaman. Call him Whitefish, I tell you. Call him Whitefish. It's fine.
Yeah. He's like, it's electricity in his pants.
Yeah. He's also voiced by Phil LaMarche.
That's
awesome.
LaMarche. Yeah. Who is also in most cartoons. Like I feel like I never connected to like, obviously Frisky Dingo connected a fair bit with me since I just spent some time ranting about it, but like I didn't connect to like Space Ghost or Aqua Teen nearly as much as I did to Harvey Birdman. I think just the structure of it, like those first few episodes where they just have a basic like like we're gonna hang all these jokes, but there's a basic like there is a Hanna-Barbera cartoon person who has a legal problem, there is a trial, and then there's an end. Like just having that basic structure like allowed, I think, them to build a mythology very quickly, and just like it, I don't know, for me it worked a little bit better because it was that slightly bit more grounded, so that the craziness felt more crazy because there was like a constant real world that you could be constantly comparing these crazy things to like you're in a law office and Vulcan 7 is yelling at you about where to sit because he's wearing an eye patch and
he has no depth perception.
Yeah.
Like like the Brack Show, Space Ghost, and Aqua Teen Hunger Force are I had the same problem. I didn't connect to them either. I mean, Space Ghost was essentially like a weird talk show, like it was late night talk show. Like it was just weird. And I didn't find the character funny, and I didn't find anything happening on it was funny. It was just peculiar. So that never connected with me. The Brack Show is also the same thing. It was one of those like weird for the sake of being weird, but nothing funny actually happened. And then there was Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It was one of those shows where it was like they tried to have that same kind of formula like Harvey Birdman, where it's like, we're a superhero team, something's gonna happen and we have to save the day somehow, right? That was the structure. But like it was just so gross, I think is the proper word for it. Like it was gross, like one of your characters is a weird meatwad and your angry neighbor who looks like, I don't know what he was, like sweaty gross man next door, and like everything had to do with like things oozing out of stuff, or meatwad getting rotten, or milkshake doing whatever, but Fries had the real power. And I don't know, like every 5-6 episodes was a funny episode, but everything in between, you're just like, why am I looking at this? Like,
there was definitely good jokes, and certainly Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I think, was more popular, like with the mainly dudes I would be watching cartoons with at 2 a.m. But when I was but like it was it just didn't connect with me the same way. Like Harvey Birdman is something I would come back to like every few years and just be like, that's funny.
I think like the absurdist humor movement started around this time as well, and I find it's a very, very thin line when it comes to that stuff for me. Like I know like Tim and Erik started not too long after that, and it's a show that I absolutely hate, but a friend of mine who I love absolutely loves, and she kept insisting on trying to get me to love the show. So she sent me clips all the time, or she'd be like, no, watch this episode, watch it. And I would sit there going, why are you sending? I don't want to watch them in a hot tub and be weird. Like I don't have any, this is not working for me, and I think it was the same thing with a lot of these shows where like this was like Harvey Birdman was like a perfect mix, but the others were on one side or other side of that fence, and you were just like, something's not right, something's not working for me, can we not do this anymore? Tim and Erik is definitely one of those things where I like certain skits, but I can't just sit down and watch the show. Like I need to be very, like Steve Brule cracks me up every time. Which is John C. Reilly's character. And then like there's a few things like the free real estate, became a meme, and that one's kind of a funny joke. But like in general, it's not a show I like, but there are definitely some classic skits in there that I enjoy. But like Harvey Birdman also has the extra layer of like double pop culture references, which also really helped with me. So like there's the Hanna-Barbera stuff, obviously, but then like the Flintstones episode where they do a whole Sopranos opening is amazing. I forgot about that.
I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, the Flintstones episode, that's the mob one again, and I put it on and I was just like, the opening, I was like, again, I was like, oh, I forgot how rad this is. Like, and it would have been so topical. Like Sopranos would have been like top of its game when it
At the time,
first
yeah.
came out, and it was just it's so great to watch. Like this just recut that like that Flintstones opening that like I don't know. I watched enough cartoons or Flintstones when I was a kid that like obviously like the show is like the opening is deep in my lizard brain, and so you watch it get recut up, you're like immediately engaged, which is something that a lot of these other programs couldn't really leverage. So that's one of the reasons why I think Harvey Birdman.
So my brain did a slightly different thing. So of course I didn't watch the episodes, but I was just going through, I was like trying to pick out which episodes reference which properties, right? And of course Flintstones popped up. The Flintstones theme song popped into my head, but then it morphed into the Homer Simpson version of it. And I was just like, pop culture ruining other pop culture, or is it making it better? Like what is happening right now? This is playing with my brain. Cut it out.
Yeah.
I kind of love it when that kind of thing happens, because you're just like, there's so many layers to it, but it's just great. It is just great for what it is.
Yep. Yeah. And I like that first arc of 6 episodes where it is very much like, here's a funny Hanna-Barbera style case. So, the first one with the custody battle with Ray Shannon and Dr. Quentin.
Yeah.
And then Shaggy getting busted for smoking weed. And like
that has like, it's like a cops thing, right? Like when they
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all the weird like for whatever reason, like anything through a camera in Harvey Birdman is shot in live action, which is totally bizarre. So like in whatever it is, Black Watch Plaid, there's like he puts all these cameras up, and then there's just this extended dance sequence about like where he's been watching Harvey Birdman waste time at work, and it's just like it's totally bizarre. They just put a guy in a Harvey Birdman costume and took him to the like carnival.
And that costume is great. I just have to say it. That costume is so great, with the big foam wings and stuff that just kind of angle to one side for some reason. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Let's see. What else did I find out? The opening theme is actually sung by one of the creators of Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law, Erik Richter, which I thought was hilarious. He's got a good voice. He should sing more. Yeah. That's all I got to say. What else?
Has the creative team gone on to make other things? I haven't looked into that at all, actually.
I have not either.
Looking up all the glittery IMDb pages of all the voice actors, but not the actual.
Yeah, why would you try to look for anything else? That's just crazy. Let's see.
I was about to record a podcast. That could be a good motivator, but I didn't.
Let's see. So the Michael Ouweleen, I think his name is. Most of it is Harvey Birdman stuff. Okay. And then he's done something called Stroker and Hoop, which I've never heard of.
Oh, I watched that.
Yeah, what's that one about?
Right. It's like kind of like a buddy cop show. Like what was that? They did a remake of it with Ben Stiller and
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be kind of a riff off that. It's got some okay jokes in it. Okay. I think it was one season.
And he also did a TV short called Pixie and Dixie and Mr. Jinx in Harass-a-Cat. That's a long one.
I do not know that.
He also, he was a writer on Space Ghost Coast to Coast as well. Mm-hmm. And he wrote one episode of The Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat from 1996, the remade show, which was actually a lot of fun. I liked that show.
Yeah, me too. That was my first encounter with Felix the Cat. I did not know it as a property before those
Me too. Me too.
90s cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's what he did. Let's see what the other guy did. Erik Richter. Let's see. Batgirl, Bird Girl, Harvey Birdman. Oh, he's done some writing on American Dad. The Marvel mashup miniseries, Ugly Americans.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that show.
Yeah. It was okay. It didn't last very long.
Yeah, it was okay. It was like I kept wanting it to be better. I was like, this is a cool premise and there's some really neat stuff going on. I just if it was just like anyway, Ugly Americans, it felt a little
it was very close to being great, but then didn't make it. And then you're just like, do slightly better, I beg of you, and you would be so awesome. And then it just didn't do it. Like kept dropping the ball at the last second or something. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it never really paid off on its premise. I think that as much as it could, which whatever. Like I'm just it was fine. It was just it didn't rise to the level of like being a classic.
Yeah. So he did that and a Stroker and Hoop and Space Goes Coast to Coast, pretty much.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. So, well, I guess they've both got work doing Bird Girl. I keep saying Batgirl, Bird Girl right now. So that's always good. So hopefully they'll be able to maintain that kind of like level of like humor and stuff to it, which can be really hard, especially if you put something down for like 10, 15 years and have to go back to it.
Definitely. Yeah. And just like the comedy landscape has totally changed, right? Like Archer exists now and has been huge. Family Guy is not the fresh new thing. It's
anymore.
Yeah. So like the kind of environment that you're putting that comedy into is totally changed. People are watching, there's just more stuff on the internet. People are watching media differently.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like you really do have to put something out there that like attracts people to like, I have to check this thing out compared to before. Like they'll watch it at some point because it's on TV, right? Where you don't really have to worry that much about it kind of thing.
Yeah. And there isn't that like sense of like late night on the Cartoon Network. Like you might just catch something totally weird and it like, you might not see it again for a while or whatever, like, or it feels transgressive because it's like, what's this doing on here? Like, and I'm sure they're still doing some of that stuff, but it's just not as, I don't know, like there's something about linear TV that you can leverage where it feels a little bit more forbidden or something, like that you're getting away with something, putting something like Harvey Birdman on TV than like, nowadays you put it on Netflix and like you're right next to all sorts of different things that have built off of that legacy. So it's like you can't just go back to the same
thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think like as I've said before many times, like I'm a person who still likes TV. I like TV. I like putting it on. Like yes, you still have to pick something to watch, but it's easier to pick something to watch because what's there is there. It's already playing. Something can catch your eye. You're like, oh, what's this? And you go back to it and whatever. Whereas like when you go on like Netflix and stuff, like Netflix or even Disney Plus or even like Amazon Prime, it's just random pictures. Yeah, you could watch the trailer, but I'm like, I don't want to watch a trailer. And you just see a bunch of pictures and you just kind of pick one and you shrug and you hope for the best, And I think because of that and because of how they use algorithms to curate things, what's presented to you, unless you actually know exactly what you're looking for and you search for it, half the time you're going to end up somewhere you're not expecting to end up. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's hard to get exposed to like just generally new things.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me. It frustrates me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. There isn't the same like, oh, it's 1 a.m. I've just got the Space Channel on. And then like, oh, there's this weird movie. I have no idea if I'm going to like it, but that's what's on. I guess I'll check it out.
Yeah.
There's I find I end up rewatching a lot of the same stuff because I know I'm going to like it rather than rolling the dice. That said, I have more access to like indie horror movies, which I love, like that I can get way easier now that we've got all these streaming things. So it's, it's just a different different kind of medium. But yeah, I know you love TV, especially because when we first signed on, you had some sort of insurance commercial going on at the background. So
I wasn't going to bring this up, but they're doing a Star Trek movie marathon today. And I was watching some of those. So they're on Generations. So
you're missing out on it to record this podcast. The sacrifices you make.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
The things I do for you and my audience. Oh, it's crazy. I know. I'm a bleeding heart. But
the content must go on.
The content must go on. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have going back to Harvey Birdman. I have a question for you. Yeah. So you have the episodes are fresh in your brain. You just watched it, and you also did bring up Family Guy just now. It's not fresh. It's not new. And like if you go back to even now, but the earlier the episodes of Family Guy you go to, the more I know it was meant to. It was quote unquote edgy at the time. Now it's just offensive, right? Does Harvey Birdman content wise age well, do you think?
It's a good question. Definitely there's like a lot of just like assumed homophobia. So like in the episode where they like he goes to prison with that two-parter that I said, like he marries a dude and that's the only consequence that's actually, he has to live with, because everything else turns out, spoilers, to be a big surprise party practical joke. So like it's little stuff like that, which I think is not great, but I think overall it's a lot better because it's a lot more absurdist humor than like, I don't know, punching down on individuals or like trying to be edgy. Like I don't feel like most of it's edgy. But there's just like a fair amount of like just like jokes like that.
One thing I remember at this show is like, especially with the implied homophobia, is that they never actually say anything out loud like, oh, that's gay or don't be gay or whatever. It's just a lot of like two guys holding hands and it's like oh my god, like just like a expression wise and or like reaction music or that kind of thing. So it's not as bad, that is true. But one thing I also remember is that Phil Saban, he is a 60s man pretty much, and he's kind of an ass. He's always got women around. He's sort of like James Bond kind of feel to him. Now, does that come across really badly as well, or is it like they skirt the line enough that you're just like,
I don't know. Like there's definitely a lot of like I don't know actually. Like I just watched the Trios Company episode where it brings back the three sidekick characters that they gave Harvey Birdman in the actual adventure cartoon. And
the Galactic Trio,
the Galactic Trio, and so like Gigi is repurposed as the trainer in the gym, and it's implied that she's basically banging everybody, but like then moves in and is like weirdly manipulative girlfriend to like Harvey Birdman. So like, it's one of those things where there aren't a lot of female characters, and the ones that are all like hypersexualized or just like Daphne showing up in the Scooby-Doo episode and Peanut just like really heavily hitting on her the whole time. Like, so like there's some of that stuff. I think that they probably get a little bit better about it with Bird Girl, but it's never great. But I don't know. Like it's not, I think, to the same level of like, haha, I'm gonna kill my mom, that like a lot of Family Guy early episodes were about. Like
like punch Meg in the face and spit
so whatever. I don't want to like split hairs or like try to apologize for it, but also not to I feel like because like the other things we talked about, where it's like a lot of the humor comes from the pop culture references and the and the absurdity, that there's less um targeting of individuals. But yeah, like the earlier Potamus side things where he like there's just a running gag where a wall or a door will be blown out and he's like banging an intern, like that's more, I think, toxic than some of the stuff that Ken Seven is doing. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think as you said, like they don't punch down at anyone, they kind of punch sideways or upwards. So it's more talk about how people who have even the smallest amount of power abuse it, whether to bang interns or to make people sit in uncomfortable places. Like it's more about showing how power corrupts you than anything else. And then you have things like these hypersexualized women, but they're called out as being sexualized, but they're never slut shamed or anything. Like it's not disappointing, or they're not prosecuted for it or anything. It's
that episode ends with Gigi marrying like 7 dudes, and that's which is on top of the 6 other marriages she says she has had in that episode, and none of them divorced. So those are your laws, is what she says. But yeah, I mean, it's in that particular episode, whatever, like she is actively participating in all of this stuff. It's just I don't know. For me, I don't know if I'm definitely not like the best judge of it, but like it does feel like with all of that pop culture stuff, some of it is just down to the lens of how probably those 2 dudes who created it viewed that pop culture, and so they have a bit of a narrower view. But like, I wouldn't put it up there with like early Family Guy or anything like that in terms of offensiveness.
Which is great, which I'm very happy about, because like, especially when you watch things with this nostalgic eye, half the time you can miss that kind of stuff. Or if it's so blatant, when you rewatch it and you see it, you're just like, oh no, oh, don't do that, right? Because I remember early Family Guy, we used to watch, you're like, oh, it's edgy, you're like, oh, but you're laughing at it. But now you see it, you're like, oh, and you change the channel or you turn it off. You're just like, I can't, like, especially when I see all of like especially the early stuff they used to do to Meg and stuff, like kick her downstairs, literally beat the shit out of her, throw her out windows, spit on her. Like it's all of these like hyper aggressive, horrible things. Yeah, you have a baby who's talking about killing his mother, but he never actually does. But like they violently attack her all the time, call her ugly, all of these things. And like, slut shames her when she has ear sex, and you're just like, wait, what? And it's just very confusing and very weird. And so I remember laughing at that stuff, but if I see it now, I'm just like, nah, I don't need this in my life, and I change the channel. Like it's one of those things, right? So it's kind of sad. It was my fault it became popular, and it's my fault it's falling off now. So they're like, Tracy's not looking at it anymore. We're still making it, but whatever.
So why is it your fault?
I'm one of the people who watched the show that gave.
I see. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the one who single-handedly kickstarted Seth MacFarlane's career.
Yeah, totally. I'm the one who like I pushed it over the edge. I was like, we just need one more person, and I turned it on, and they're like, there it is.
Yeah. If that hadn't happened, they wouldn't have rebooted Family Guy. It would have
just gone away.
And,
Maybe there wasn't enough of me to watch more Futurama to just keep it going and good. So it's a disappointment. It's sad.
It's how you failed future generations.
I know. I'm so sorry. So the other thing I realized too is that, so I was saying before how this show is very short, but all of the Hanna-Barbera references that this show makes, all of those shows lasted like 6 months to a year on TV in the 60s or 70s. And they are just digging up some deep references and some shows I have never heard of before in my life. And I was just like, my mind is blown. Like, you guys are crazy. You know?
Yeah. In the, like, I feel like the entire episode was probably started with this one running gag, but the SPF episode, which the legal story of that is a character called Dingaling suing for his name rights because it's dingaling.biz is a porn site, and he wants to, like, take back his name rights or whatever. It's not super clear, but there's just a sequence of where Harvey Birdman is just calling a whole bunch of obscure Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters, which have like double entendre or like potentially sexual like names, and so it's just like one after the other of like like no one's ever heard of any of these.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot because I need to know at least one more besides Dingaling.
Okay, so highriser.com, Motherlode, Galtar and his golden lance, Fluid Man, and Big Duke and Bigger Duke.
Oh my god!
Remember?
Yeah. Wow, you remembered a lot. Okay,
I did like an hour ago, so and it's a funny.
It's funny, yeah.
But also, funny. I love that episode a lot because the whole other side of it, which is that it's called SPF because Harvey Birdman finds out he might have skin cancer, so he starts covering up and putting on sunblock, but his whole thing is he gets his powers from the sun, so he starts taking bronzer as an analog for like uppers, and so he gets addicted to the bronzer, and Peanut is selling it to him, and he ends up selling his parents it's total nonsense and deeply hilarious. And,
yes. So I looked up his like Birdman's origin story, like from the original show, Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, and it was shown from 1967. And apparently, which I would, besides the episode, the SPF episode where he's like, I get the powers from the sun.
Yeah,
his origin story is crazy. It's crazy. It says here, an ordinary human who has been endowed with the sun god Ra, with the ability to shoot solar rays from his fists and project quasi-solid solar shields to defend himself against attacks. He's Egyptian? I'm confused.
I mean, it's an Egyptian god. I don't think he's Egyptian.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I never would have. I actually thought he was more like Superman origin kind of thing, like he's an alien who gets his power from the sun or whatever. But no, he was endowed with the sun god.
Also, it just said there that it gives him the power to shoot beams and make shields. It doesn't mention that it turns him into a bird.
No, it doesn't.
That seems a little bit like an oversight. I feel like the wings are kind of the first thing you need to explain when he becomes a Birdman, because like he was just a normal person who happened to have wings.
Okay, so I looked up the sun god Ra, and he has the head of a bird, the head of an eagle. Okay. So maybe that's what it is. Like he's got his powers, therefore he turns into a bird.
Right.
Himself. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, they're even unclear in the show, and they make a joke about it in the episode X the Eliminator, because he's hired, voiced by what's his name, who is amazing in it.
It's Peter
McNichol. Yeah, who's in a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, him! Yes, he's in Ghostbusters too.
Yeah. And
in Ally McBeal, and in Dragon Slayer, and in, is it Dragon Slayer? It's Dragon Slayer, right? It's one of the, like in the late 80s, they had all of these like weird movies, like same time as like Willow and Excalibur, and they had like this weird dark medieval look to them that were kind of weird. I don't know. I keep saying weird, and it's fine.
Yeah. Well, because Conan was such a huge hit that
I did not realize he was the voice of X Eliminator.
Yeah. He does a few voices on there.
I was right. It was Dragon Slayer. Sorry.
Hey, nice.
Very excited.
Yeah. He. What else does he do? Anyway, everybody he voices is fantastic. But in that one, the X Eliminator is hired to steal Birdman's crest, and he's like, "Oh, that's where I get my powers from, I think." Like they're not clear either, but he just has to get the crest on Birdman's helmet.
Yeah, because apparently he forgot he was hired to kill him, and then sees him somewhere, and then decides to go back on his mission.
Yeah, he lost track of him for a whole bunch of years until he saw him, Harvey Birdman, on a TV ad spot for personal injury law.
See, it makes sense, sort of, all the time, but not really. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
One of my favorite, later season episodes is X gets the crest, and he has this whole crisis of lack of purpose because he gets the crest, and he's just there's nothing that is driving me anymore. I thought I would be happier. Anyway, it's the kind of superheroes crossed with middle-aged angst that I enjoy.
I don't know. That just reminds me of the whole plot of Megamind, essentially. That's literally what it is. He wins, and then he feels melancholy, and then he has to make a hero to fight him to have purpose again. And it's great. It's great.
I should watch that. I have not watched it. Yeah.
You should. It's actually really good. I thoroughly enjoy that movie. I love his general mispronouncing of very regular words. He says, instead of school, he says shul.
Okay.
And it's Metro City, and he says metrocity, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's Will Ferrell?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It's Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, and Brad Pitt. And oh my God, what's his face? Funke. What's his real name?
That
guy.
Yeah. Why? No. Why did you say Funke? Now I can only think of Tobias.
Because I couldn't remember his actual name, and that's the name that popped into my head.
Anomia. That's the name of this thing that we are experiencing. And
yes.
Which is David Cross, of course.
David Cross, there you go. Yes, he is absolutely fantastic as Minion. It's great.
Yeah. Cool.
Wait, is J.K. Simmons in that too? I think he does the voice of the police chief guy. There's a lot of big voice actors,
right,
big actors in it who aren't actually usually voice actors. Now that I think about it, because Jonah Hill does the bad guy character as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I recommend that one. I think that's
cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of there are actually a lot of pop culture references in the movie. A lot of weird little in jokes. Just kind of, there's a lot of stupidness in there. A lot of music gags, which I think are great. It's fun.
Well, it is post Shrek DreamWorks, so it was speaking of where comedy pop culture being frozen in time. Yeah.
I love one of the greatest stories from Shrek, though, after it became such a big hit and all this kind of stuff. It came out that they were working on different projects and stuff. I think it was what project were they working on? It was some other project. And
was it Prince of Egypt?
Yeah, something like that. And then if they were doing a shitty job, they got demoted to work on Shrek. And then Shrek comes out and everybody's just fuck Prince of Egypt. Shrek! And
what? Yeah, I want Matrix references in my princess kicking movie.
Yeah.
It was a weird time.
It was a very weird time. Very weird time. But it was a good time.
It's still one of my parents' favorite movies. They watch Shrek Christmas probably every year.
I've never seen Shrek Christmas. Now that I think about it,
if you like the like crowd pleasiest parts of Shrek, and just like want somebody to do a real okay job of recreating them for Christmas, then
and just get on that train. Yes. Well, because I've seen all the movies. I don't know. Like, I love Shrek. Don't get me wrong. I love the movies. I like the concept, all that kind of stuff. But it's not one of those things where I'm like, I need to dive deep into this, get to all of the things Shrek related. Like, I've never read the book it's based on, for example. And a lot of people don't even know it's based on a book. They think it's like, oh, it's just Shrek. They made it up, blah, blah, blah. No, it's based on a book.
I don't think the book had Smash Mouth in it, though.
No, I don't think so. And also, a lot of people forget that song was actually on the soundtrack on a movie that came out the year before it blew up because of Shrek. It's Mystery Men, by the way. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if you watch the video for All Star, it's Mystery Men. It is not Shrek. I actually looked this up like 2 weeks ago because I was writing something, and for some reason I had to know the timeline for Smash Mouth songs coming out, which is a weird thing to have to know. It was actually a key part of my story. And I was just like verifying. I was like, it came out in this order, right? I was like, no, it's this order. Oh yeah, it came out here. And then I spent an afternoon listening to Smash Mouth songs, and it disgusted me how many lyrics I still remember from all of their songs that they put out. And I was like, no, it's like there's like a hole in my brain that's just Smash Mouth that I think is hidden and grown over, but no, every once in a while it just punches through, and you're like,
like, isn't it? There's like an age at which music just like gets absorbed into your brain, and then it's there forever. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. I have so many new metal songs in my brain that are not ever coming out, no matter how much I try.
Yeah.
But like, can you imagine just being able to repurpose that for like useful information?
Like, oh my god!
Like rezone this brain space for like.
I have so much wasted space in my brain that I can't sweep out. Like, I just can't get rid of that stuff.
It'll be wonderful. It's in there.
Just there forever. You know.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's sad or if that's good, because I'm a killer at trivia, but don't ask me to do anything like important. That's not a thing. No.
Yeah.
No, not important information. Just random, strange things. Yes. So we're gonna stop talking about Smash Mouth now.
Yeah, please.
Just remember, you're the all-star. Okay. Just remember that.
But I'm skating on thin ice. Ice getting thin. It's a song about global warming. They were decades ahead of their time.
Decades and decades ahead of their time. Yes. Let's see. What else do I know? Really, I just put down what TV shows relate to the episodes and what characters from the original series showed up, like the original Birdman series showed up in Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law.
So we talked about the Classic Trio already. We talked about like some of the villains in the class action lawsuit, which is fantastic.
Yeah. There's a character named Falcon 7, and then I was just like, what is this character? And then I looked up what he looks like. He's Phil Saban. That's
Yep.
Bird Boy, which is Peanut. Bird Girl was a villain. And it's sort of like Smurfette. She's sort of like Smurfette, which I think is weird because she was created. Who was she created by? She was created by Dr. Minotaur through hypnosis and a super serum, and given metal wings. So I feel
like metal wings wouldn't fly very well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have planes. Those are metal wings.
I feel like they have powerful jet engines attached to them to make the wings go. I don't think it's the metal wings.
I don't think the flapping action is going to work very well. Yeah, that's true.
But also, Bird Girl in the show can't fly, so that I guess
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
But because she's just the daughter of Saban, and then
she's just dressing up as Bird Girl. She's like, because she wants to go around. I think she has a grappling hook that they play for laughs by making it realistic in that it's really, even with a grappling hook, somehow it's really hard to climb a rope and scale a tall building.
All those shows used to make it look so easy. You're just like, it's there.
Yeah.
And then you just get to the top. What are you? It's a little metal hook. It's not gonna hook on all of the things, right?
Yeah, doesn't anybody remember gym class trying to climb the stupid rope?
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know. I was a tiny weak child, so like I could maybe get like one rung up off once my feet were up, and then that was it.
I don't think I went to school with anybody who got to the top. Like nobody got to the top. Like I think it's crazy what they expect you to do.
I don't even think, like, by the time I was there, I don't think they allowed you to climb up to the top. Like I think that they like it was a safety issue because if you let go from the top, then you're like paralyzing a kid. So that's not good. So
yeah, until like 1990, they were just like, yeah, go to the top, do whatever you want. And then they're just like, oh, safety regulations, go halfway. Yeah. How about just not torturing us by making us do that? That would be great. That would be awesome.
Immerse us into some sort of electrical sludge that could just stimulate our muscles without,
Or what is it, like in Star Wars? You have like that water tank thing they just drop you in to do, to heal you magically. I don't know how it works really. Why is it in a lot of like future, like that one, there's Starship Troopers, they do it as well, where to heal people they're immersed in water or liquid of some sort. Why do you think that's like a thing?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to know where that trope comes from, because like Star Trek obviously popularized it a ton, but like Star Trek stole, or sorry, Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah, I was getting confused. I was like, wait, did I miss something in Star Trek? What am I talking about? Yes.
We were talking about Star Trek before. It's fine. No, but like Star Wars obviously like was the huge thing that popularized it, but like Star Wars stole from tons of stuff. Like they popularized a lot of stuff that had shown up in weird edge sci-fi stuff, like Dune stuff. But anyway, it'd be interesting to track the trope of that particular, like the history of that particular trope, because that's weird. It's a weird thing.
Let's see. The book Starship Troopers came out in 1959, so maybe that's where they stole it from.
Maybe, but the book is very different from the movie. Like I don't know if there's a submerged healing thing in there. It might be, but
I don't know. I've never read the book. My knowledge of Starship Troopers is purely from 2 of the movies and the TV show, not the 3 and 4 really bad stuff that came after that. So I've never read the actual book, but I mean, there's still, trooper guys going into space and killing bugs. That's still a huge part of it. So
Yep. Yeah, it's just the specifics of like that visual of somebody healing while being suspended in a vat of goo is like, I don't know if that specifically appears in the book or not, but
in my brain there is another franchise that did that as well, and I can like, it's like pink goo, and I cannot, when you could see it but you can't see it at the same time, so you can't place it. And I'm trying to think of like what, if I remember I'll put it down, but
anyway,
figure that out. Yes,
everybody go to TV Tropes. You didn't have anything to do today.
Yes, go check it out. Being suspended in goo, that's always fun. And what else? And then I put little notes per episode, because episode 1, Johnny Quest, we already talked about that. Episode 2, if you don't know, Apache Chief and Black Vulcan were a part of the Super Friends, so they're from the Super Friends show. Episode 3 was, of course, Scooby-Doo. But the full title of the show has never been Scooby-Doo. It's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? ! Which I thought was interesting.
Wait, where are you? ! Not question mark.
Not question mark. It's exclamation
mark. Where are you? Declarative.
Yeah. Which I thought was really strange. Episode 4 has to deal with, it's Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. Yogi
That
Bear
is fantastic. The whole Uniboo Unabomber thing.
I forgot about that.
Oh man,
yes.
it's so good. We at the house where I was living at when I was going to college, we had like somebody brought in an old typewriter at once, and then I just came downstairs one day and somebody had typed out picnic basket, and then with the offset T, which is like very specific to the whole criminal case in that episode. It was good.
Yeah.
Like the
yeah, when you live with people with the same mindset, hilarious things will happen. Yeah.
And that's the origin of one of the like recurring, like Vulcan 7 has a lot of these recurring like jokes that he just says over and over again, and one of them is cookies on dowels, which is where that is cookies on dowels, and it's because the Uniboo was sending booby trapped cookie bouquets to places, but then throughout the entire series, every once in a while, Vulcan 7 will just say haha cookies on dowels. So
that's beautiful. I love it.
Harvey Birdman talk.
Oh god, I'm probably just gonna have to either buy a new DVD set or get a digital copy somewhere and just watch it, because I need to relive all of this. I do. I really, really do.
I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Yeah. But also another fact about Yogi Bear, he made his first appearance on the Huckleberry Hound show. If you didn't know.
I think I vaguely remember that because he was a spin-off. Yeah.
So episode 5, apparently the show was called Jabberjaw, which I had never heard of before in my life. Because I legitimately thought the band that they made up, like I knew one of them had to be a Hanna-Barbera character or something, but I didn't realize the whole band was, and it was a whole show. It lasted like 5 months on TV in 1976.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, probably like, well, let's just try to make another I guess it wouldn't have been Gem and the Holograms. What was the
Josie and the Pussycats?
Josie's the Pussycats. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Apparently, according to the Wikipedia page, I skimmed.
Yeah.
Not perused. I keep using perused wrong. I skimmed. It's actually came out because they wanted to get on the popularity of Jaws, and that's why the main character Jabberjaw is a shark. That's
some mind-bending, like we're talking about. Oh,
I read the line like 5 times. I was like, "What? No, that can't be right." It was a response to the popularity of Jaws. That's why he's a shark.
Because so I'd like to unpack this if you don't mind. Okay,
go right ahead.
Jaws is popular.
Yeah.
But it's R-rated, so that's one thing. First is like, so we're gonna make a kids cartoon show tying into this R-rated movie. 2, even if you like Jaws and were a kid and watched it and whatever, I don't think the shark is who you're like. It's a villain. You don't want, like, you know what I want is to see more of that shark and to really hear the shark story. I want the shark side of Jaws, right? Like I want a show that has a sympathetic shark who also plays music as a part of a band.
Yeah, with 4 teenagers who like to go to the beach.
I don't know. I would have loved to take whatever TV money they were making that time. Like, just seriously? like you come up with the premise of the show before lunch and you go take the rest of the day off. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I know most of the stuff on Wikipedia is vetted every once in a while, and
Yeah.
people look into it. So there's probably a truth to that information, but I'm not
weird
sure.
and wacky place. Like I don't actually have that hard a time believing that happened,
Well,
or
I mean, just based on looking through just these episodes of Harvey Birdman and looking up the shows, they were putting out a completely new show with new characters once every 6 months for like 10 years.
yeah.
Right? And a couple of them stuck that were a little bit longer, but most of them came out for like 20 episodes over 5 months, and that was it. So like they were sniffing something on some kind of drugs on another planet, whatever, but they were just coming up with the things. And I think this was just like I don't know, sharks are popular. Lucy and the Pussycats are popular. Sharks and bands together. Done.
It strikes me like in the Simpsons episode where Poochie comes along. They're like, call it something like Poochie, but more edgy. And they're like, so Poochie fine with everybody? Yeah. You just watch some like executive walk into the room. It's like, make something to do with sharks, but that appeals to kids. It's like, so a shark hangs out with kids? Yeah, all right.
Check mark, and to the drawing board. We're good.
But Hanna-Barbera had like pioneered the ability to make super cheap animation for cartoons, right? Like they didn't have to do the crazy intensive Disney stuff because they would design their characters so that you could you only had to animate like a tiny fraction of the screen at any given time. That's why Yogi Bear has his collar, so that like when he turns his head, they don't have to animate the rest of his body. All that stuff. So like that it makes sense that they would be trying to play to that strength of just like whatever ideas, spaghetti against the wall, maybe something will turn into
something will stick at some point.
We'll get another Yogi Bear and then like live off that for 20 years.
And they kind of did do that, which was great. I mean, like when you think about it, a lot of the shows that they reference are shows that just fine. You got Flintstones, you got Yogi Bear, you got Scooby-Doo, you got Johnny Quest, and Super Friends, which are big shows that are still in. I don't know if they're in our lexicon anymore, but like Johnny Quest and Super Friends kind of like fell, but Scooby-Doo and Yogi Bear, Flintstones, they're still very much around. Because they're currently doing a Scooby-Doo show, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, and it was just a new movie.
Yes, that's right. There's Scoob, the animated one. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that there's been any Flintstones material recently, but I think it's still like one of the most popular brands of like children's vitamins, which is a weird legacy.
Yes. All of us were given Flintstones vitamins at some point in time and then ate it like candy for a while. And our parents were like, why are there no Flintstones vitamins left? Oh, I thought it was candy. And then they stopped buying it for us. So that's just what happened.
Which is funny because I mean, a lot of these shows we're talking about are from the 70s, but the Flintstones obviously is so much older, old enough that I think there were cigarette ads in the Flintstones.
Yes, there were.
So for it to have evolved into a partially healthy vitamin, it's mostly sugar, which is why kids eat it like candy, but whatever.
So the Flintstones originally aired between September 30th, 1960 and April 1st, 1966. But based on the fact that there's no reruns and stuff, that was probably like 8,000 episodes. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's only 166. That's a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. Don't know why. Again, it's one of those things where you're just like, no. There's got to be thousands of these episodes, and you're just like, there's 12. You're like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right. Though, one of the jokes in the Harvey Birdman Flintstones episode is how frequently they use the trope of him getting hit on the head with something heavy and then like being another character for that one episode. So like he would just take on another persona so that they could have it, whatever like sitcom trope they wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, it's kind of crazy. I don't think that would work anymore.
Probably not.
Apparently, there was a population to Bedrock. It's 2,500. FYI. I
think it's seen in the it might be in the opening. There's a.
Oh, is there like a sign?
Sign might be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, wow, they got deep on this wiki. That's fine. Wait, when did the stupid alien come in? That's what I want to know.
Ooh.
I hated that thing. As soon as that thing appeared, I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, was that in one of the reboots, or did that come out like in the 60s still?
The Great Gazoo.
Yeah. It might have been in the 60s because it might have been when they started like having the Jetsons around and try to like revitalize stuff.
Maybe.
There's only so many Honeymooners episodes you could rip off.
Yes. No, there's way too much reading here. I don't want to read more.
Fair enough.
But as far as I can tell, it was at the end of the original run.
Yeah.
And until, even though that was only 6 years, it was the longest running network animated show until The Simpsons, which obviously The Simpsons beat it by a long shot by now.
Yeah.
Because they're on season 34, 33?
Something like that. Yeah.
Because they keep... I'm not going to talk about The Simpsons right now. I can't do it. Not going to do it. It breaks my heart. There was literally a time in my life I'm like, The Simpsons can never end because it's the greatest thing ever. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just like, just end it. It's already dead. Just let it go.
If people are still finding it funny, I have no problem. It doesn't. But I also don't watch linear TV, so it's not taking up space anywhere in my brain or in my media environment. So it's fine.
Well, I think that's my problem, is that every once in a while I see The Simpsons on and I stop and I watch it. And then I realize, this is past season 15 or whatever.
Yep.
And I sit there watching it and I'm just like, this is horrible. Why are you doing this to me? And then I watch the whole episode.
But who's doing it to you? It sounds like you.
I'm doing it to myself. Yes.
And that's what really hurts. Ba-dow.
We're all gonna just lie down on the sidewalk and just let it wash over us. Just let
there
it
you go. Only 90s kids.
Only 90s kids. Yes. Okay. From that depressing note. All right. So episode 7 and 8, that is the one where it says like he goes to jail and whatever.
Yeah.
So what I thought was really funny with Blue Falcone, he was actually on a show called Dynamut, the Dog Wonder. So it was about the dog.
Yeah.
And that he was the dog's owner and he was the secondary character. And I was like, that makes it even funnier.
Yeah, I skimmed it. It looked a little bit like a little bit like a Inspector Gadget kind of thing, where the dog just can do any mechanical stuff to make fun cartoon stuff happen, and then like there's some human that very slowly moves the plot along. Because
you have to be like, why is this dog here? Oh, this guy brought him. You're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, clearly underdeveloped, and they do such a fun riff with him.
Well, the thing is, so like after checking that show out, I was just like, oh, that makes so much sense in the context of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where you find out Blue Falcone doesn't do anything. It's the dog does everything. So when he dies, it's a big deal. And then you realize, oh, this is why. And then it's just funnier that way.
Yeah, it's so like the humor stands alone in the episode, but also it's so weird that they're actively referencing the shows that nobody watched, that they're repurposing the things from. They're like, all the Dynamut fans are gonna really
they're gonna love this
out of this second layer of meaning that we're baking into our episode of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
It's really good.
It's so good. Well, that's why I like, even though I didn't get to watch the shows, which really sucked, but looking into the shows, like the background of the shows and where the ideas came from, which is something I've never done before because I took the show on face value and just laughed along with it, even though it was very clear there's lots of layers to it. But like finding all this stuff out, I was just like, oh, it makes it so much funnier now. Now I really have to go back and watch it. Like I need to see these things.
Yeah. I mean, like it starts out where it's like, oh, haha, Shaggy is kind of like a stoner. Wouldn't it be funny if they thought he was a stoner, right? Like there's not a ton of layers there. So like it doesn't present as something that you like need to do homework for, and you certainly need to do homework to enjoy it. But like it's funny that they do have those tie-ins if you go looking for them.
Yeah. It just adds more to it, which is awesome. So then the next episode, so this is where it goes all over the place. So it skips to season 2, episode 5, which is SPF. So Ding-a-ling is actually from the Huckleberry Hound show.
Okay.
So there's that. And then go to episode 11. So, which is okay. So the thing is, on the DVD and then the show listing, they have different names. So I have to check them out. So the next one is The Devlin Made Me Do It. So this was about like, it was a cartoon called Devlin from 1974. It was on TV for 5 months. Had like 17 episodes, I think it said. And it's about the stunt driver guy.
Straight up ripped off. Now I can only think of Super Dave, but the same person Super Dave is ripping off Evel Knievel, of course. Evel
Knievel, yes. The funny thing is, when you were saying like, what's his name? I was like, Super Dave, and then I was like, no, Super Dave would have been after this.
Yeah, Super Dave, which sprung fully formed from the head of its creator. Not a reference to anything.
Not a reference to anything. He's a complete original. That's exactly what he is. He's fine. Yes. Let's see. Episode 12, which was Trio's Company. So the characters are from the Atom, Ant, and Secret Squirrel show from 1965. That was a longer one. That one was like 2 years. Okay. They had quite a few episodes. But yeah, I didn't know Atom, Ant, and Secret Squirrel shared a show. I'd known about Secret Squirrel before. And then episode 13, which was High Speed Buggy Chase, was a show called Speed Buggy.
Yep.
Which I had never heard of. I have never heard of that show before.
Yeah, I mean, probably Speed Racer wasn't a thing. I don't know.
Or maybe
what kind of crossover it was.
Well, let's see. Hold on.
Or like whatever, they sent Hanna-Barbera executive to Japan to just rip off their shows or something. Like
could be. Yeah, so Speed Buggy was on in between September 8th and December 22nd, 1973. Very short show.
Yeah.
1973. So Speed Racer. No, not the movie. Let's see. Speed Racer or Mach Gogo was in 1967 to 1968. So I'm assuming they ripped off Speed Racer.
Yeah, I don't know how much like American crossover would have happened when there was only like 4 channels on TV. I don't know.
That's true.
But like presumably whatever. Like it was completely different anyway because Speed Buggy was still like teens solving problems stuff. Like they seem to like fall back on that a lot, which is just like take whatever premise of the show is and then put some extra teens in there, probably solving a mystery.
Yeah. Well, so what's funny about
like with a shark?
Oh, with a shark, yes.
It's like, hey, we need to show a shark. Okay, so we put some crime solving teens in there. Add a shark. Done.
Done. Love it. It's gonna be good.
Buggy. All right, yeah, we got a buggy. It's anthropomorphic. We can yell at it to do stuff. Also, I don't know, probably some teens who solve mysteries.
Some crimes. Yeah. Like most of the stuff, surprisingly, I know, like I'd known about Speed Racer like my whole life. I've known about Speed Racer, but I never really watched the show because it was on way before I was born. And then again, with very small, time on TV available, it wasn't on very often, so you didn't get to actually see it.
Yeah.
So most of my knowledge of Speed Racer comes from the Wachowskis version of it from 2008, I think it said 2008. So I mean, there was a slight mystery element in there because of Racer X or whatever, but I don't know anything else about it really.
There's a monkey trunk.
That's right, there is a monkey. Oh my god, yes. Okay. Oh, and all of the there's a whole bunch of Robot Chicken references to Speed Racer, which is pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I was watching a little while ago. I was watching Robot Chicken episodes, and I was like, "This show is still funny. Like, it's still legitimately funny."
Awesome,
and I like it. And also, it makes me feel like I'm a 5-year-old because I'm like, "Haha, he fell down." And that's it. That's all my notes.
The one episode I referenced before with the class action lawsuit was so all the people that all the villains that Birdman fights in the original cartoon, a bunch of their villains, they just grab a bunch of them and then they have this class action lawsuit. Has one of my favorite bits because I really like Mentok the Mind Taker.
Yes.
Yes. He, like they started with a different judge, and then I think by episode 5 they had switched to Mentok, and then in episode 6, in the weird continuity thing, they kill off more or less. Like I think he shows up again, but like the first judge, Maitor, gets killed, gets whacked as part of the like mobness of Fred Flintstone. But yeah, so Mentok is just hilarious and everything he does makes me laugh. But that's the episode where the rival attorney is the brain thief, and so like he's an opposing mentalist or whatever you want to call it, and so they have this whole sequence where like they do the Deliverance guitar versus banjo, and they're just like doing increasingly crazy like superpowers at each other. It's a lot of fun.
I believe you, don't worry. And it's making me, it's like you're pouring salt on the wound. It's like I haven't watched it and I need to look at them. It's gonna be so good. Yes. I definitely have to track down more of these and get my watch on. It'll be a good day when that happens. Be such a good day. Yes. But yeah, any other notes?
I don't think so. I think that's about it. It's a good show. Stands up.
Yeah. I believe it. I thoroughly believe it. Because anytime you say anything, I'm like, oh yeah, that part. Yeah. But I definitely have to track some of this stuff down and have a rewatch. And, it makes me sad that these DVDs are falling apart. And maybe I need like one of those like humidors or something, like a cool, controlled environment, not definitely. My sweltering apartment would probably help a little bit.
Yeah. You could be like, overheated and sweating, but you look through the glass and you have nice climate controlled DVDs and you're like, at least they're safe. At least I've done what I can.
Done what I can for you. Yeah. Survive. Yeah. Make things just a little bit better. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah. If you can find it, go watch Harvey Birdman. It's great.
Yeah.
It's aged well. Well, I guess that's it. I was no help to this episode, but yes, I guess that's
okay. I was here.
You were here. Yes. You brought all the knowledge and all the things. I love it. I love it. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here this week. I guess that's going to be it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about a couple of strange movies, Heathers and Hellboy. Hope you'll be here to listen.